I'm Dr. Matthew Gloudeman, and in this video, I'm going to talk about a very sensitive subject, which is a prognosis. So if you were given a prognosis, if someone you care about was given a prognosis, it would be really difficult to hear those numbers. And I'm going to explain to you why I hate prognoses. I don't think they're framed very well, so I'll explain to you how they should be framed. If you're a healthcare professional and you give prognoses to patients, I'm hoping you're doing it this way. And then finally, how I explain what patients should expect, what family members should expect as far as end-of-life trajectories, and what I look at as an indicator for whether or not I think they've got a long runway, a short runway, or somewhere in between. Thank you so much for clicking on the link. This channel is called Your Best Doctor because I give my best to each and every patient I see. I love what I do, I'm passionate about my work, I have an infinite quest to get better for my patients and their families because that's what they deserve. I wish I could be everyone's doctor. Since I can't, I hope these videos might help you or someone you care about. If you like the video, you can click the like button, you can subscribe, make a little comment, share it with someone you know. Every little bit helps this channel grow and ultimately will help more people, so I'm really grateful for that. Little disclaimer as well, these are for education purposes only and they don't replace a real doctor. So if you're worried about your health, if you're worried about someone else, please contact a local healthcare professional. If anything, my hope is these videos encourage you to seek help sooner. There's a full disclaimer in the description box below, which you can read. With that, let's get back to today's topic. So, this is the reason why I hate prognoses. If you ask a healthcare professional, doesn't matter who it is, there's inherent trust with this doctor next to my name and this stethoscope around my neck. I am very well aware that just with that, and the years I spent trying to get through medical school and undergraduate studies, 9 years in total for me, so a 5-year degree in biology and journalism, 4-year degree in medical school, and then another nearly decade in the NHS. That's how long I've been working. There's this DR next to my name, and there's this stethoscope around my neck, and my patients and their families trust me implicitly with their lives. I don't take that for granted, but prognoses, if not framed properly, are very, very harsh. I don't like putting a timestamp on someone's life because I treat every single patient as the genetically unique individual, because they are, even identical twins have some genetic differences, and then your environmental factors, social factors, they're wildly different between people. So although disease patterns sometimes, I suppose, can look similar, picking or putting a timestamp, you have 6 months, 12 months, whatever it might be, isn't very useful because %80 of the time, healthcare professionals are wrong. 80% of the time. That means we're either over-projecting or under-projecting a prognosis. And if you don't frame it that way, and you don't literally tell patients, if you want a time frame, I would say the average would be 6 months. But if I was you, if I was telling you right now, you watching this, I think you're gonna get hit by a bus and die in 6 months' time. First you'd be like, how would you know that? Are you able to predict things? But let's say you believe me because of this doctor next to my name and the stethoscope around my neck. Wouldn't you want to know how confident I was? And if I told you, I'm only 20% right about my predictions, what would that mean for you? Well, hopefully it would mean that, okay, there's a 20% chance he's right, 1 in 5. That means I probably got to get my affairs in order. It means if putting things off, I probably shouldn't. So maybe it's talking to a family member that you've not been talking to, or maybe it's, you always wanted to make a trip and you're feeling fit enough, well enough to do that. Maybe it's that you just, want to spend as much time as possible with the people that you care about and value the most. Okay, fine. But what I've seen is people were told they have 6 months to live. They spent all their money. I literally had this happen. I knew a patient, spent all his money in the first 6 months, and then he was alive for 12 months and 18 months. And his last year was really, really challenging and difficult because he trusted somebody that gave him a prognosis of 6 months. More often what I see is families feel like they're cheated out of time. And that breaks my heart because If you're told you've got, till Christmas, and then Christmas comes along and your loved one isn't there, that's heartbreaking. If you're told you've got till whatever amount of time, maybe you're planning a wedding, maybe you're planning something else, you're cheated of that time because you believed in this prognosis. So it needs to be framed properly, and that's the second point I was saying. I always tell patients and their families that if you were given a prognosis by a specialist, fine, you can believe that, but 80% of the time they're wrong. Literally, that's what the evidence shows. So don't put a timestamp on your life. Don't put some things off because it might mean time is shorter, but equally, don't live till that date. The last little thing about prognoses and why I think is quite important to talk about is trajectories. So this is a bit of a graph, okay? And let's say that this is when you're like fit and well, and this is like very poorly. That's a British thing. Very unwell. Been living in the UK too long, I'm starting to say British words. My family teases me about it all the time, even though my accent's still pretty American. So, fit and well, very unwell. People's trajectory of their life is usually when they're young, so this might be 0 and this might be 100 if you make it that far, is they're pretty well for most of the time, and then they might have some dips every once in a while, and then as we kind of getting into the older age brackets, we might be kind of falling down. And this is the way I explain a prognosis, or what I would look at is trajectory rather than actual numbers. So I tell patients, and this is something I learned in palliative care when I was working there, if you notice that your loved one or yourself is deteriorating month on month, meaning each month you're a little worse than the month before, probably means you have months to a short year of life. If you're deteriorating week on week, it probably means you have weeks to short months of life. If you're deteriorating day on day, it probably means you have days to short weeks of life. If you're deteriorating hour on hour, it probably means time's quite short. And that's the best way I can explain to patients and their families how I would expect things to go for them. It's not very specific intentionally, because I would be wrong 80% of the time. What's more specific is if they're tailing off quickly, that probably means time's getting shorter. And that's a much more sensitive and safe way to explain to patients how to look at trajectory. Now, some people, they go from month on month and tail off really quickly, and that's tragic. Some people die suddenly, really sad. Some people tail off quickly and then rebound, and we can't explain why. So lots of different caveats and different trajectories for people, especially if it's something that's more of a chronic condition like dementia, or if it's something like, diabetes or heart or lung problems. Those can be very difficult to predict. People might look a lot worse month on month for a while, week on week for a while, and then they start to kind of stabilize and they're all right for a while. So usually trajectory is a better way to frame a prognosis. So I hope this video helps you, help someone you care about who maybe has been given a prognosis, or maybe you're worried about a prognosis. That's how I would frame and explain what I think as a clinician might be the trajectory of your life, but everybody's genetically unique. Everybody's social and environmental factors are unique. So speaking with your own healthcare professional and understanding your unique circumstances is really important. Come to the doctors, we're happy to help, we're happy to talk to you, or at least I would hope every healthcare professional is, because that's the way, and that's my mentality always, is no patient has ever wasted my time. I am there whenever they need to answer questions for them.